Hey there, everyone. This is Tim Davis again. You just heard from me a little bit ago, but let's do something else this time. Today I'm going to talk to you about community involvement and things that you can do to get more engaged and also, get some free stuff. So who am I? Again, I'm Tim Davis. I'm a Senior Systems Engineer for NSX at VMware. You can find me on Twitter at ALDTD. On Reddit, I'm VTimD. On VMTN, I'm VTimD. And then my blog, vtimd.com. Don't ask me why my Twitter is different. It was really, really old, and I didn't want to start over again. So what am I doing here? I'm going to talk to you today about all the different VMware communities, kind of what you can find there, and also some things that can be gained from engaging with the community. So the very first one is vMug. This is one of the biggest ones ever. This is how I got started with community engagements. Just about every region has a VMware user group. And this is done by a company that is not VMware directly. It's a community that's led by community members. It's not supposed to be led by VMware people. So it's not a bunch of marketing. It's a way for you to get together with the community and talk about stuff that you're, stuff that you're doing, problems that you're having. Hearing from certain vendors to say, hey, this is what we're doing with technology today and how it might help you. Twitter is the biggest thing ever. I got a speech from our vMug president that said, if you don't have Twitter, join it today. And seriously, for everybody that's here, if you don't have a Twitter, go join it today. It's one of the most helpful tools out there for us. I've got a couple of short links here for one thing that's the top 100 Twitter people for VMware. It's kind of an older list, but everybody there is extremely helpful and generally has a lot of good content. And the next one is this year's vExpert Twitter list. There's about 1,600 or so of us, maybe even more than that now that the second half announcements are out. So there's definitely a lot of people that you can get there. A lot of the times those people will follow you back. That's the best way to get interaction. Blogging. The first time I did a blog was because I was having a problem with vSAN and I could not figure out what the issue was. So I created a blog and I dumped out all of the technical information that I could on that issue, scrubbed a little bit of the customer stuff out and put it out there. I was then able to tweet that out and got an answer back from the guy who quite literally wrote the book on vSAN. Had I not been on Twitter and had a blog, I may not have found the answer to that question, and this was within maybe 6 hours of posting the blog. So it really, really is helpful. The Reddit community, I'm a moderator on our VMware. I actually have no idea how many people we have in the community, but I know for a fact that we have at least 20 or 30 VCDXs that are regular posters and that come into the community, help out, answer questions. This is completely community driven. We do not have any VMware sponsorship whatsoever in that group. So you will find people like myself who do work for VMware. Generally, whenever we post something that may be marketing or anything like that, you're going to get a disclaimer that we're an employee. If I'd say something about how this competitor doesn't do it the way that we would for NSX, you'll always get a disclaimer. So that's definitely a great place, especially if you're already on Reddit. Come subscribe to us, see what we have going on. VMTN, this is the technology network. This is the forums for VMware. This is a huge deal. You can go in there, ask your questions. If you have problems, get pretty quick answers to your problems. And they have scoring systems where you can give somebody points if they answer correctly, at which point it starts to distinguish the answers of the people that are more qualified to give those answers. And that doesn't mean that somebody with a low score may give you a worse answer, but there's definitely a clear and defined path to getting good response. And there's so many people from VMware proper that are in those channels, and you may even get product managers directly who can answer those questions for you. And of course, our favorite, the vBrownbag. Now they've branched out a little bit farther from the VMware only side of the house, but if you ever have any free time at all, download an episode, stream an episode. This is some of the best people in the industry coming together to give you exactly what you might be looking for. They have entire series on certification tracks or new technologies. It's definitely the place to be for podcasts, video streaming, and other information. So what can you gain? Industry contacts. So as I talked about with my blog before, I was able to get somebody who wrote a book on a product to let me know what you're trying to do it's not designed to work that way, but you can do it this other way and it'll work. Backdoors to support. Now this is in no way official, but a lot of the people that work for VMware GSS are on Twitter. They're in the blog rings. They're out there. They can answer questions for you, or even get to the point where somebody says, I'm having this problem, and VMware support is being, dragging their feet a little bit. And I've seen people reach out and say, what's your SR number? And take that directly through and expedite that, to be finished. New friends. Really, there's only one person that I know here that I've known from outside of the VMware community. I've met so many people here at VMworld this year that I've been talking to every single day in the community, but never actually met in person. So really, there's a lot to gain in that. Great opportunities. So access to programs like Pernix Pro System, Cisco Champions, and even the vExpert program, which is the biggest one that we'll get to in a second. Mentorship opportunities. Find a mentor, become a mentor. It's a great way to get help and find out how can I push myself farther, or how can I help somebody else push themselves farther. And the biggest one for me is the vExpert program. I'm a vExpert for the first time as of this year. The biggest thing that we have, I would say, is probably our Slack channel. You have to be a vExpert or a VCDX to get in there. It is some of the craziest stuff and some of the best information posted by some of the smartest people I've ever talked to ever. I prefer to put myself in a room where I'm the dumbest person in the room, and some of those Slack channels are the exact place to be for that, because there's people that are way smarter than me talking about things that are way over my head that I'd like to strive for. So what do you do now? As I said before, go out and join Twitter. Get on there, start reaching out, start following all of those people, getting follow backs. I started off by just retweeting cool things that I saw. And eventually I had some of my own content that, like, hey, I'll ask this question, or I'll put this out there. This is what I feel about something. I'm coming up on 1,000 Twitter followers. It's like 918 or something like that now. So go follow me specifically. Appreciate that. Start blogging. Post about anything you have, tiny problems that you might have. You found a solution to something that's helpful for you later. I had a coworker of mine at a previous job say, hey, I had this issue that I saw, and I found this blog post that tells us how to fix it. Have you ever seen this problem before? It was my blog post from when I had that problem 6 months ago. He didn't realize that the name was me. That was one of the coolest feelings I've ever had. And get out there and volunteer. Go to your local VMugs and say, I want to talk. Specifically with the Dallas-Fort Worth VMUG that I'm in, we always have vendor presentations and stuff like that. But even day of, when the schedule is set, if a user wants to get up and talk about a problem they're having, that vendor gets preempted and they immediately get to stand up. Those VMUGs are about you as a community. So go ahead and get involved. That's it. Thank y'all.